So Steve Bannon, chief strategist for Donald Trump, such as it is, and now in a lot of trouble because he's lost a lot of allies in the National Security Council and in the administration, and he's reeling, and he's been attacking McMaster, who's the National Security Advisor, and now people are mad, and John Kelly, who's the new chief of staff, is big friends with McMaster, and so Breitbart is on the precipice here. So, I'm sorry, I keep calling him Breitbart. Steve Bannon is on the precipice here. It is ironic that their site is named after a guy who was Jewish, and when these guys are always warning about the globalists and doing all these anti-Semitic memes, etc. Anyway, but in this particular case, we're going to talk about his hatred towards Muslims. Hold, okay, excuse me. We're a fun show. Anyway, so The Intercept out with a really interesting story from Peter Moss about Steve Bannon explaining why he came to fear Muslims taking over the West, and why he basically, the origin story of why he doesn't like them.
Is it Stephen K. Bannon?
Yes, it is in fact Stephen K. Bannon.
Same guy.
Yes.
All right, good.
And he had Bannon had talked to a journalist about this, and Joshua Green, who's writing a new book about it, and they said, "Oh yeah, sure." And Joshua Green's like, "I have it on tape, so we can listen to it anytime you like." So apparently Bannon told him, he's like, "This is why I don't like Muslims." So he explained that when he was on the Navy destroyer in the Arabian Sea, and Bannon did serve in the Navy for 7 years, so he'd gone on 2 missions, one in Asia and one in the Arabian Sea. And he said he told this story as to like what scared him and frightened him about these masses of Muslims take over. He says, quote, "It was not hard to see as a junior officer sitting there that the threat was just going to be huge." Okay, he said, "We'd pull into a place like Karachi, Pakistan. This is 1979. And I'll never forget it, the British guys came on board because they still ran the port. The city had 10 million people at the time. We'd get out there and 8 million of them had to be below the age of 15. It was an eye-opener. We'd been other places like the Philippines where there was mass poverty, but it was nothing like the Middle East. It was just a complete eye-opener. It was the other end of the earth." So let's note for a second that he sees a bunch of young Muslims not doing anything wrong, just existing. And he's like, "That's it, it's a threat. Can't you see it's an eye-opener?
Right.
There's a lot of them, and they are not our religion or color. This is a giant threat." So that right there is amazing and openly, unbelievably bigoted. Bigoted not only like I don't like Muslims, but usually more sophisticated people will tell you why you have to profile them and do other things and why you have to discriminate against them because of percentages and stats. He's like, "No, I just saw them and I hated them immediately." And
there were so many of them.
There were so many of them, right? Now, of course, the funny part is, turns out almost none of it is true. He is so weird, man. And that's the thing about bigoted, racist people. there's something wrong with them, that they hate other people for irrational reasons. So, turns out, the Intercept tracked down the log of the ship that he was on. It was never in Pakistan.
God, journalism's so good. I love when
they talked to 6 people on the ship and they found the military records. The ship never went to Karachi, Pakistan. And he called it the Middle East. The Pakistan is not in the Middle East. Okay, he said there was 10 million people at the time. There was 5 million people in Karachi. It's irrelevant because he was never in Karachi. Okay,
but still 8 million of them were under 15.
Yeah, that's right. And it turns out, and of course, Karachi was not under British control in 1979. None of the story is true. And it turns out what scared the living crap out of him was not Muslims. Now he's saying, "Oh, it was the Muslims." Now, it just turned out it was foreigners. The ship stopped in Hong Kong, which was under British control in 1979. British officers did board the ship because that's when you land in Hong Kong, that's what happens, etc. And there's a lot of folks in Hong Kong. You can't tell with your eyes whether they're 10 million or million, right? On another story, he said, I saw Iran, and Iran was like landing on the moon. It was desolate, and it was like the 5th century. They never landed in Iran. They were 12 miles off the coast of Iran. How the hell would he have seen it and have it look like the moon? And 5th century, what the hell are you talking about?
By the way, of course it looked like the moon because you were so far from it. That's why it looked like the moon.
So the degree to which this guy is racist and bigoted is unbelievable. And he's the chief strategist for the president of the United States of America. Unreal. That's who Steve Bannon is, and he told journalists this. Help us build independent media. Become a member of the Young Turks. TYTnetwork.com/join.